What is up, my dude and dudettes, and welcome back to TellerTube. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the subreddit r/Maliciouscompliance. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with my latest videos. With that being said, let's dive in. I have to write notes in your class? Have it your way. This happened to me quite recently, and I thought it belonged here. For context, I am currently in second year university, studying to be a vet. I study in my home country, but I am studying in English as I spent most of my life in the UK. Because of that, the professors all teach in English, though some of them don't speak it that well. Additionally, I am a very slow writer, but a very fast typer. The main cast includes me and the professor. It was our second lesson, and professor demanded we write down all of our slides word by word, since she would want the pages back later as our homework for proof that we had done some sort of studying. I was sitting there just taking pictures of the slides since I knew I typed slow and I didn't want to be that guy who says, "Wait, I'm not done yet," to make the whole class wait. About 3 slides in, professor comes up to me and starts berating me. The conversation was in Bulgarian, so it's a little paraphrased. Professor:
"Why aren't you writing? You need to submit these if you want to pass this unit."
I'm taking pictures. I'll write them up when I get home.
"Sure you will. You better start writing now before I kick you out."
I write really slow. I don't want to slow down the class.
"Bull crap. You just want to get out of doing any work. One more word and you can just take your things and leave."
Fine then. After that, I started writing. The PowerPoint was about 50 full slides, and our usual lesson time is 2 hours, 3 to 5. Every time she switched the slide, I was only about halfway through it, so I politely asked, "Would you go back so I can finish writing?" She moaned the first few times and eventually got so annoyed she actually came to check my writing, and indeed saw that I was only about halfway through. After she came to check, she kept an eye on me to see if I was writing slowly on purpose, or if I'm indeed slow, and saw I was giving it my all. Once the lesson was done and everyone walked out, she came to me and said,
"You can take pictures, but I better see them written up at the end of the semester or I will fail you."
I just said no problem and ran up to catch my classmates. A contract can be used by both parties. Alright, this happened some years ago when I had just gotten hired for a part-time position in a retail store. All was good until the summer got close and he offered me a full-time for the summer ended, which I gladly took. Less than 2 weeks into the summer, he changed my hours back to part-time. I hadn't thought about getting the temporary full-time thing in writing as he seemed like a trustworthy guy. It made no sense as I did a good job and helped out with many things my contract didn't mention when I had the time as I got bored quickly. I found out that even though he's had years of experience in the field, he had massively overspent on the wage bill and had to cut down to avoid getting fired by the head office. When I voiced my concern over this, his only response was,
"I'm only obliged to give you 20 hours a week as the contract states."
I wanted to chew him out verbally, but I kept my cool and decided that if he wanted to play that game, I would too. When I got home that night, I read my entire contract and noted the clauses that I could use. One clause stated that my responsibilities was unloading the trucks, take care of the stockroom, and keep the shelves stocked. Another mentioned that I shouldn't do other tasks as their insurance only covered me for specific areas I was meant to work. The next day, he told me to help out the cashiers as the lines were long. I go, "Sorry, can't do. As the contract states, that isn't a part of my job here, and I should refrain from doing that. You can find it in my contract clause 9A and 9B. He was fuming, face totally red, and just walked away without saying anything. Another thing I noticed in my contract is that besides my 30-minute lunch break, I had a 10-minute break that I can take when I wanted, so I gave him 5 minutes. Then walked into his office and told him I was taking my 10-minute break.
"What are you talking about? You only have one break and that's for lunch."
My contract says otherwise. It's in clause 10. When I got back from break, he asked me to clean something up out at the front of the store. I couldn't believe that he couldn't take a hint. "Sorry, can't do. Clause 9A and 9B prevent me from doing it." The next day, a customer asked for help with something. "Sorry, can't do. It's not my job. Find someone else." My boss heard about this and yelled at me, but I managed to stay cool and answered all the clauses that prevented me from helping that customer. Legally, I was in the right and he couldn't do anything, but I could see the hatred in his eyes. I was still on a trial period, which meant he could fire me with only 24 hours notice, but I could also resign only 24 hours notice. I knew that once summer had ended and everyone was back from their vacations, he would fire me right away. I had started looking for other jobs and it was going alright, so I decided to quit at the worst time possible when it showed itself. At the last week of summer, he had to fire one and suspend another for stealing from the store. It was the perfect time to quit and leave him badly undermanned for the week. 24 hours and 1 minute before my next shift, I sent him my resignation before I sent the message to my coworkers about how they should remember to take all their breaks and not violate their contract by doing stuff they aren't allowed to do. I heard it gave him a little chaos when people followed my advice. Well, sir, I'm only following the contract that you told me to follow. You only want me to work my hours? Okay, a bit of a backstory. I was an employee who always turned up to work early as I hated being late and just got on with work as soon as I arrived, which was usually about 30 minutes before my shift. Never took a lunch break, instead just eating at my desk as I worked as I was busy all the time. I would often stay late to get the day's work done, otherwise it snowballs into the following days and I can never catch up. I also did a lot of things for people that wasn't technically my job, but I often knew more about the query than the department that was supposed to deal with it. So one day I was stuck in traffic due to an accident and called ahead to let them know I was going to be 5 to 10 minutes late. I got there about 5 minutes late and promptly got on with the already surmountable amount of work. Later that morning, I was called into the manager's office and dressed down as I didn't come and apologize personally for being late. I explained that I called ahead and I'm always early unless it's out of my control and never take a lunch break. This didn't matter as this was my choice and I'm expected to be there on time and just do my job. So that's exactly what I did. Anything that wasn't my job, I asked them to contact the relevant department as I couldn't help. I sat at my desk and didn't log on until my start time, took my lunch break and left on time. This caused a lot of issues as everyone knew to call me anytime during working hours for urgent things. Within a week, managers were having a go at me as they were having to take calls during their lunch and I had made this an issue as I was being too helpful and now I'm being petty because I got told off. I was looking for another job anyways, but this made me realize I was just a number to the company. I was made to take on a lot of extra work before this incident for my manager. I tried to protest the new workload as I knew the other department had downplayed how much work it actually was as I worked closely with them, but was told it wouldn't take too much extra time in the day to help out the other departments as they were struggling. Notice the irony about being too helpful? Within a month, I had another job within the company and gleefully moved offices as the handover of the work started. Last I heard, there were 5 of them doing my old job plus a supervisor. From a company where you were expected to be grateful for a $500 pay raise every other year, this must have been a huge dent in their budget. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, smash that like button as it would really help me out. Subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date with my latest videos. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.